And a hearty good morning to everyone out there, you college football fans. Wake up with me, and we will talk some college football. We will talk about whatever we want to talk about. And this has been the theme of this show through 14, now 15 episodes. So, good morning, wake up college football. Welcome to the Voice of College Football Breakfast Show. It is the breakfast show that is somewhat steered away from breakfast the last few days. I think one of the side benefits to starting the show, the intent was, of course, this was done solely for you and for me and for building the community and seeing, okay, who's going to be around this early in the morning, and let's do something different. Let's break out of the mold of all the analysis and sitting at the desk, and let's give it a different look, a different feel, and let's tap our audience in the morning, because I had so many people reach out to me on a regular basis to say, hey, Mark, I'm here, but I can't watch and can't comment live throughout the day, and especially at night. I go to bed early. I check you out early in the morning. And so I've had this thought about a morning show for a long time, but just does not jive with my body clock. Plus, again, other people say, well, if you're doing sports, college football especially, you got to do it at night. Nobody's going to watch you during the day. They're going to work. They're not thinking about college football. Who knows what the answer is? But I thought, hey, let's give this a shot. But I was also thinking there could be a few side benefits to this. There's been a lot of upheaval in my life, and nothing too alarming or tragic, so don't worry, everything's fine. But just a lot of scheduling upheaval, let's say, a lot of moving parts, a lot of traveling here and there, living out of a suitcase for a couple of years, not being able to really pin down a schedule for the last couple of years. So I had a pretty inline life despite working a crazy schedule at ESPN. And I actually connected with somebody from ESPN last night through LinkedIn. I see that somebody that I worked with for quite a long time, that she left the worldwide leader just in the last month. We're friends on LinkedIn, and I never go on LinkedIn. Something prompted me to LinkedIn. I even shut down their notifications because I didn't want to be bothered with knowing, hey, it's this person's work anniversary, and hey, it's this. But I went to LinkedIn for a purpose, and I saw a note from her and saw that she has started her own business. And so we traded a few messages, and there was a reason I brought that up. Well, just leaving ESPN, and then even though I had a topsy-turvy schedule there, at least it was a schedule. So then you base your day around your work schedule, of course. But for the last, it's going to be 4 years in October. So 3.5 years, for the last 3.5 years, I've not had a work schedule. My work schedule never stops. So I'm just like venting and ranting right now, because things are coming to mind that have never come to mind. And that's one thing. If you've had a regular schedule, regular work schedule, especially, and then if you guys can relate to then having no work schedule, or actually like a fire hose work schedule where you have too much to do. So for all these years, I did have jobs in the TV industry where I had oversight over a department. So in a sense, your job never ends, even when you go home. If people have questions, if things need to be done, if there's a certain situation in covering sports news and in covering real news, when I first started, you're kind of on the clock all the time. Although those situations were pretty much under control, where my regular schedule was my regular schedule. Okay. And then at ESPN, I had my schedule. And for as crazy as it was, and for as much as I didn't like it as I grew older, it was still a schedule. And then I go at the age of 50 and all of a sudden, bam, I've got no schedule. And then your to-do list gets crazy. And even though I was running all these channels at the same time, which people couldn't believe, oh, you got a full-time job? There were so many people that would approach me and find out that I had a regular job and then I was also running all these channels. It's strange, though. You drop a job that you had for 50 hours a week to run all these channels, and you really just still don't have enough time. And yeah, it never crossed my mind in the way that I'm failing to communicate it, that and then some other things happen in my personal life that had me living out of a suitcase in other people's houses for a couple of years. And again, don't feel sorry for me. It had nothing to do with my personal finances, like I got kicked out of my house or anything. No, I had to make certain decisions to help people, and therefore I was just living out of a suitcase. And then you don't know where things are. You don't have an established life for a couple of years. And then this is topsy-turvy in terms of what I'm doing on YouTube in regards to a schedule. I wake up every day and, okay, there is no possible way to get everything done. It's impossible. It's impossible to get really like 5 or 10% done in a day. So you got to prioritize. And so part of the side benefits, not the reason I did this, not at all. But I thought after deciding to launch a morning show, well, point number one, it gives me a definite wake-up time. So I would say before, about half the time I would have something that I would have to get to. I would schedule a meeting intentionally in the morning to get my rear end out of bed. But otherwise, those other days, I would stay up so late, I'd be up till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, usually working, that I would just be like, okay, Mark, you just have to crash. And when you wake up, you wake up. Well, I wasn't sleeping until noon. Just because I stayed up till 5 o'clock in the morning working, that didn't mean I would crash till noon. A lot of people can relate to this. You can only crash for so long. So I was still getting up at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, but I thought, that's still too late to start my day. I need to start my day earlier. So this, again, the decision was to do a show, but I thought that's a side benefit. I'm going to get up every day at 7 a.m., or at least 4 days a week. And church gets me up at a relatively early time on Sunday. So there's 5 days a week I can't sleep in. And then the other thing that hit me this morning as I was preparing for the show, and when I say I was preparing for the show, I brought stuff down to the kitchen. That was my preparation for the show. You guys know we don't prepare for the show, just like you don't prepare for your wake up, get up time every morning, other than with the alarm clock. It's all done on the fly. And that's what this show is going to be. And has been, is morning headlines, what's for breakfast, all of those things. But I determined after yesterday's show, people asked, what's for breakfast today, Mark? I don't know. And I ran out of a bunch of stuff, including cereal. I don't have bacon for bacon and eggs, so I don't want to have just eggs. I could, of course. That would be a good source of protein without the bacon, but something just doesn't hit me about eggs, no bacon, and I've not been a big fan of eggs recently in my life. Too much bacon and eggs, like almost every day for about 3 or 4 years, I guess, has done it to me, because I put thought and sight together there. The thought and the sight of eggs at this point just does not intrigue me, allure me to the stove to make eggs. So I was going to make a smoothie. I brought out all the stuff at the end of yesterday's show. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be the smoothie for the day. We were running out of time, so I couldn't prepare it, like was the intent of the show as well, to do a little kitchen segment as well. But we get to talking, and there goes the time. So I thought, well, I'm not accomplishing my second goal, because I thought my second personal goal with this show was that, okay, I get so involved in my day, typically, I'll go until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon and be like, I haven't eaten anything all day. That happens all the time. I thought with this show, I'm going to make breakfast. So that's going to make me eat breakfast. And that gets me to a good start on the day. But what's been happening is I have every intent when we get done with the show that I've told you, okay, we're having cereal. Okay, when I say it's cereal, then I'll usually carry through. I'll follow through, and I will make some cereal because it's right there. It takes 12 seconds to, fill the bowl, get the milk, eat cereal. However, with the smoothies, did the same thing yesterday. Boom, look at my phone. Oh, I got about 8 more things to do and start going through things. Never made a smoothie. Probably didn't eat until 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon because I was working on our all-time program rankings, trying to get a video out for yesterday. I failed to do so because they are taking way too long to produce. I think I'm going to have to change that project unless the videos blow up and justify the work. But I'm editing, and I thought I have to eat at some point. And so I'm setting a time at 4 o'clock, and I came down here and I had some leftover enchiladas at 4 o'clock yesterday. All that to say that it's my fault. I'm not eating breakfast, but it is getting me out of bed. And hopefully starting today, I will start to eat breakfast on a regular basis. Because I do like breakfast. All right. Who's here to talk some college football with us or whatever we're going to talk about? I got to say, another sidelight to this show was, for as much as I want to talk about college football, I really want to talk about what you guys would like to talk about. And most of the questions, unless we really get rolling on a food conversation, it seems like most of the comments and questions are concerning college football. I kind of thought that this might be a little respite from college football to a certain extent, I got to say, even though the main segment is to check the headlines. And of course, we're checking college football headlines, that I somehow thought, this is going to be time for me to just go into story time, talk about whatever is on my mind, whatever's on your mind. So it's become a smorgasbord of sorts. I came across a video in the last couple of weeks. The person didn't know what smorgasbord meant. They came across the word, they didn't know how to pronounce it, and didn't know what a smorgasbord was. We've got High Flying Pony 733. Is this a call-in show? Just curious. It is not, sir. But thanks so much for being here. It is not, but we appreciate you being here. And I had to let this one process for a couple seconds, and I believe I know who this is. So, Dominic, we appreciate you being here. I've been fine. How have you been? Hopefully well. Yes, we've got a Go Clemson from Bo Weevil. We would be disappointed if we didn't get that out of Bo Weevil. Franklin's here, Franklin Fanatic. Good to see you. Got a Go Cavs. I certainly hope that's Virginia. I hope it is. Actually, I shouldn't care. But anyway, Canes Dolphins 89. Maybe it's Go Cavs because the Cavs are in the playoffs. And I believe, yes, I was told, my buddy told me that the Cavs beat the Magic in Game 7. And now they've got the Celtics. I'm up to date on that. Only because of him. They came back from an 18-point deficit. And that caused me to look it up online and see that some dude scored 50 points. Or he had scored 50 points in another game. Maybe he scored a ridiculous amount of points. He scored the most points in games 6 and 7 since Allen Iverson. That's my NBA knowledge right now, but I couldn't tell you who that is because I never heard of him and didn't know his name and still don't. Canes Dolphins 89. Tim's here. Philip, good morning from New Mexico. Lobos fan? Aggies fan? Probably not. That's going to be my guess, that that's not the case. We've got F8 here. Appreciate you being here. Knowles fan. Love seeing the variety of college football fans here. Wet Blanket, of course. Pokes fan. Only casuals don't think about college football in the morning. I must be a casual. I've become a casual college football fan. Shoot, there have been times when I've not even been thinking about college football when it's been streaming out of my mouth. I've had call-in shows or I've been producing a video where I'm just on auto drive, cruise control, and it's just streaming out of my mouth because I've said it so many times or thought it or just know it. And my mind is. So I don't know if that makes me horrible at what I do or that makes me really good at what I do. I don't know what the answer to that is. Mike 3883, good morning to you, sir. Canes Dolphins 89, who is the best college football quarterback of all time? I don't know off the top of my head. Of course, no one knows. Do I have a ranking for that? I don't. I don't believe I have never seriously looked into that question. For one season, it's difficult to surpass the accomplishment of one Cam Newton in 2010 if you take everything beyond statistics into account as well and what he did for that team. That is not a career, though. But he might have been the best for one season. Tim Tebow's, of course, right near the top of the list. You look at the statistics, the record, the accomplishments, everything there. If you go way, 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 way back, I know that a lot of people said that Roger Staubach was the best college football player they ever saw at that time. But you got to think that the best college quarterback, when you really analyze the play on the field, had to have been in the last 25 years because the level of play has been so good. Although the rules changes, the offensive changes, everything has swayed toward the passing game to inflate those numbers. Sam Bradford had quite a run at Oklahoma. Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow for one season. Again, I just said Cam Newton, but I just came up with another guy in Joe Burrow. It would be difficult to. And it's such a short career in college football. It's not like you're comparing 15 and 20-year NFL careers here. So that is a question for another day, but those are some initial thoughts out of me. BGPO Football Funk. Dre, we appreciate you contributing. Just a little flyby, or maybe you're watching the entire show, but we appreciate. Thank you so much for contributing the last couple of days. It's very nice of you, and we will carry on. We've got a Clemson channel. Dre's a big Clemson fan. BGPO stands for Black and Gold, Pittsburgh Steelers. PO, Purple and Orange, Clemson. That's where that came from. I could never figure that out. Had to ask him one time. But that's where that comes from. And we've got our Clemson channel and our Clemson show on Thursday nights with Jordan Bowman and with Tiger Paw Craven. D-Rock Irish is here. And I can't say hi and good morning to everyone, but we do have Adrian here, big Canes fan. Another Canes fan here with Canes and Dolphins believe Miami will go 10-2 or 9-3. With that schedule and with their roster, they better. Tim's got Iowa at 10-2. Again, you want to check out a very entertaining and informative show from Tuesday. Check out the Iowa show because we had Elliot Clough from Rivals stop by to talk to Corey and myself. and a deep dive on the quarterback situation with Brendan Sullivan, the former Northwestern quarterback. And yes, General Booty, do with it what you will. General Booty, also the junior college player and former high school star and nephew of two, in fact. I don't believe either one is his father. I believe they're both uncles. I may be wrong on that. Two high-level college quarterbacks. One, of course, moved on to the NFL and had some level of playing time and success. But those are a couple options for Iowa. Both players are visiting this week. Sonny, good to see Sonny. And if you did not know, Sonny is your host now for, hopefully I don't mess it up, Locked On Illini, Locked On Illinois. It's part of the Locked On network. And Sonny is now in charge of the Illinois platform there. So anything that you could ever want concerning Illinois football and basketball, I believe I'm promoting that correctly. Check out Sonny. And Sonny does a great job with us helping launch our Texas channel here at the Voice of College Football, but it's Locked On Illini with Sonny. Sonny's got the morning show on while getting my daughter ready for the bus, and it just hits me, Mark, it's going to be her version of Mr. Rogers in the morning. Well, that is your fault, Sonny. That is your fault. That's your responsibility. And if someday you're held accountable for bad parenting and it comes back to me, hey, I was just here. I was just one of many options. We will, though, have fun, keep it clean, and do a few things right for your daughter. We can at least guarantee that. Now, the educational or the entertainment value, that's up to all of you to judge that. But thank you for that, Sonny. We appreciate you being here. Good mornings all over the place. Big Ten team rivalry show. Good morning from the wood shop. Well, make some good things today. Ferris is here, and we had a heck of a Michigan show last night as well. Absolutely. This was a great discussion as well. I hate to promote my shows so heavily and just say that they were all great, but I know that Justin Adams did a great job without me on the Nebraska show, so I thank Justin so much for taking on the Nebraska show last night without me. That was a combination of a few things there. And so we just decided, hey, Justin, take it. Thank you. And then the Michigan show from last night, really good conversation. And I got to say, and I will make an admission here, there are a lot of big stories that break in college football, especially if they involve some level of thinking. Like with all these court cases, the NCAA, NIL, possible labor unions forming in college football, all of that. Okay. Man, I have missed an opportunity for sure because I've had my personal thoughts and they come out at times when I take phone calls, but I wanted to structure a complete plan, and I wanted to do that a long time ago and really lay out how I would approach it from a realistic standpoint, not a pie in the sky. Let's go back to 1955 and make all these kids just go to class and we're going to limit football to 12 hours a week or whatever. No, trying to merge some principles, some life lessons, some structure that would benefit, of course, the student athletes, but also benefit the fans, because sometimes I hear a comment out there from time to time. I'm thinking of a few different people that I will not mention, not people in the chat, not people that watch me, but people out there on social media that have some level of platform that actually think this is for the student athletes. No, it was originally for the student athletes. The origin of college football, college athletics, was for the student athlete. Absolutely. It was for no one else. But once people started to show up to watch this, first in person, then on television, and there started to be money involved, then it ceased to be about the student athlete first and foremost. I hate to say that. Now, what the truth is of the situation versus how it's functioning can be two different things. Case in point, here's my analogy. There's all sorts of parents in this country that allow the kids to run the household, tell them what to do, cry and moan and complain, and get their way. But the parents fail to realize, number one, they have a God-given responsibility to be real parents. That's most important. But secondly, if you want to really boil it down to a business type mindset at home, the parents have all the money. The parents have the resources. Therefore, they are in charge. They're in power. But if they fail to utilize that power, then their kids run right over them, mainly because they want to be their friends first before their parents. It was always my intent that even though I desperately always wanted my kids to like me and be close to them and be their friends, that was not my priority. And I also thought that in the long run, they would be my friends because they respect me first and foremost. Hopefully that was accomplished. It sounds like it was. It looks like it was. So getting back to this, the student athletes, once this started to become a big business, it was no longer about you first and foremost. It should be, but it's not. Although they may get it both ways and it may continue to revolve around them because it certainly is right now. And that's not totally a bad thing. But my point is, collectively, it's all about us that pay the bills. We should be the number one priority in all of this. If this is going to be a business, then it's about the consumer. And it is a business, and they want it to be a business because they want to get paid. And I totally am on board with that. For as much as I think it's to the detriment of the sport, as a patriot and a capitalist, first and foremost, before anything other than my faith and my Christianity, I'm a patriot and I am a capitalist. So I am good with him being paid. It's to the detriment of the sport, though. And we talked about it on the Michigan show last night. And the world in which I would love college athletics to operate has been dead for decades, is not coming back, would be good for these student athletes and these players. It actually would be, because I hate to say it, and I hate to be a prophet of doom, but even if this works from a business standpoint, and 5 or 10 years from now, we're watching college football like never before, and we're intrigued and fascinated by an expanded playoff, and whatever turns out to be the result of player movement and all of that, maybe this stabilizes player movement. If it's going to be managed correctly, this could have some benefits for fans in that there would be limited player movement. They would sign contracts and stay at universities. They'd also finish out the season and play postseason games because they would be obligated through their contract to finish the season. So there can be some benefits to the fans. However, even if this turns out to be a financial bonanza, and even the majority of fans say, hey, you know what? I was wrong about this. This is working. This is great. This is fine. I've grown accustomed to it, and the playoffs are so phenomenal. It's great. Love college football. Let's say 95% of us think that 5 years from now. What I'm talking about is that I don't know that this is going to be best for the student athlete, because I don't know that they're going to be well equipped to do the right things with this financial gain. All you have to do is look at the NBA to see that. I might be wrong. Hopefully that they've got financial advisors and counselors. But Money corrupts. Money is a tool. Money, if you're not prepared for it, corrupts. All you have to do is look at the celebrity world, the entertainment world, the world of sports and athletics, and this has been proven over and over and over and over and over and over and over, tragically. So, as somebody once wisely said, be careful what you ask for. But we talked about that during the Michigan show last night. Brian doesn't want to work. Well, you can just hang out with us, Brian. How about that? Tim is asking about the best Iowa tight end of all time. Well, in college, that's a different answer than in the NFL, and I'd have to have the numbers in front of me. But those are two different answers in regards to the NFL versus college football. But George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, Dallas Clark, we know all the great NFL tight ends they've produced. However, while they were in college, so for example, George Kittle did not have a great college career, but he's turned out to be arguably the best in the NFL. Who am I missing? C-Day Fedorowicz was probably on a lesser level. Ferris, you shouldn't let that out. If somebody doesn't know who I'm a fan of, be best to keep that under wraps. That would be best. I should have never. That's the. Boy, I've made a ton of mistakes building this business and these YouTube channels. Boy, So this may not be the biggest mistake, because I can think of the biggest mistake. The biggest financial mistake I made is pretty easy to come up with. The biggest mistakes, I've made all sorts of mistakes. Again, anybody does building business, so that's not any lament of regret there, because everybody fails building a business to some extent. You don't go just step by step by step by step. You fail and you go backwards. And we're in not the best of times right now. Why am I saying that? Something brought that to mind. Oh, because one of the worst things, although it would have come out at some point, somebody would have found out, or something in my history, in my past, on my Facebook, or something would have come out. But I certainly loved it when people did not know who I rooted for. I think this worked so much better. It was somewhat fun for me. I think it was fun for people, and it didn't even come up that much. It did not even come up that much where people would ask me. They would just kind of take, we don't know who Mark roots for. Maybe you commonly didn't even think about it. And so if I could start it all over, maybe I'll shut this all down and let somebody else host it. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe that's where we're headed. We hand this off to somebody else. They host everything, and I can just be a businessman. And we'll take this in a different direction. I'm just talking. All right. Ferris is here, giving us the backhanded HI, I believe. George! Feel sorry for Miami. Well, they've had a rough 20 years. It's been a rough 20 years for the Canes. M. McCulwell, good morning, everyone. I'm ready for this college football season. Buckeye fan from Columbus. Well, hey, good to see you. Good to have you here. George cannot be touched by the sun. Okay. But we appreciate you stopping by. Mike G's here. He's waking up. Okay, and everyone else. Oh, okay. Mike G. Ferris So I guess this is for Ferris, but I'm going to read it anyway because I see my name there. Mark did an obsession piece on Ohio State and Michigan. It was great. Well, thank you. So I did an obsession piece, and then I followed it up with a live stream because I promised to get to all of the comments, and I sure wasn't going to sit there and follow up on 150 comments typing. So we did a live show following up on the comments. I got called out for spelling Charmin wrong. Well, you spelled it 3 different ways when referring to that. That's all I was, at first I couldn't even remember for sure exactly how to spell it for sure. Now, once I saw it spelled correctly, I thought that's the way you spell it. But for the first 3 times, I was like, okay, you're spelling it all sorts of different ways. I just took note of that, referring to the coach in Columbus. So there must be some coach in Columbus, the Columbus Crew, possibly, that's known for being soft. I don't know. Somebody would have to explain to me the whole Ryan Day soft. I think it's just somebody came up with a good. Yeah, that there have been games in which the other team was more physical. Granted. Yeah, granted. Sure. Okay, I guess that's it. I would have to say, though, if that's the criteria, then every coach is soft at some point. Shoot, Kirby Smart's team got pushed around by Alabama in the SEC championship game last year. I guess his team's soft? He's soft? I don't know. I guess. Okay, McCallwell is asking if I believe that Ohio State finishes the season 11-1. I'll have a prediction in August, so I'm not making any predictions, but sure, 11-1. Anytime you're predicting an Ohio State season in the last 20 years, what's your best prediction? 11-1. 11-1 is the best prediction you can make because since 2005, in terms of regular season games, since 2005, they've lost 2-0, 1-2, 1-1, 6 when Luke Fickell was there, then 0-0, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 0-0, 2-1-1. Put all that together, and that's 11-1. They go 11-1 every year. So that's your best guess every year. They got a trip out to Oregon, so you're predicting a loss at Oregon. Well, I believe that Ohio State's a better team than Oregon. That doesn't mean that they can't lose to Oregon, especially on the road, especially if the quarterback play is not, if there is a definite advantage in the Dylan Gabriel column over Will Howard. So that is probably the most likely. If you had to select one scenario as the most likely scenario, that would be it right there. That would be the most likely scenario. However, they do have Michigan, and they do have, there was one other team on the schedule that I thought was a threat. I don't believe they play Penn State. They've got Penn State this year again, don't they? According to Franklin Fanatic, he said that Keandre Lambert-Smith held Penn State at ransom, and Penn State said, bye-bye. I respect my program more, however, at the detriment of success. Okay, I don't know the details of that, but based on what you're telling us there, I would certainly respect your right to respect your program. I would also consider that maybe your program was making a financial decision to say, not that they were holding to some principled position, but that Keandre Lambert-Smith was not worth the amount of money that he was asking for. So insert Marvin Harrison Jr. for Keandre Lambert-Smith, and they're going to cough up the money. I am thinking that's the answer. Miami might have the easiest schedule in the Power Five. Mario better win a lot this year. Yeah, there's no Clemson on the schedule. There is no North Carolina State on the schedule for Miami. And they've got one, quote, difficult non-conference game with Florida. Yes, they could be another stumbling, bumbling Miami team and bumble their way to a 10-2 record and make the playoffs and get punched in the mouth. Mike G is proclaiming the Ohio Bobcats as the preseason national champion. That's a stretch. That's quite the stretch. But, Mike, you can predict whatever you want. But again, Ohio U as the national champion out of the MAC. Well, there's an opportunity there. They go undefeated. They get the group of 5 spot in the playoffs as the 12 seed. And then they got 4 games to get it done. So that could happen. Joey's requesting this. I've seen this. He must just copy and paste this exact comment. Century eggs, don't know what that is, and a slice of, I have heard of them, but don't know what they are, and a slice of pickled jerkin, which I've never had in my life, wrapped in a fillet of pickled herring. Breakfast of champions. I'm sure Tom Brady had that every day for 20 years. Soon, Mark will never eat anything else for breakfast. And as soon as we have our What's Up for Breakfast, Mark segment, and that is delivered to me, I will eat it. That's all that has to happen. What is the basic cost of all of that? I have no idea, but it doesn't sound too expensive. Boom. Super chat. It's here. I'm off to the store. You give me the recipe, whomever wants to. Give me the recipe and the funding, and we're off to the store, and we grab that. Ohio State fan M. McCulwell says Michigan's going to lose to Ohio State, Penn State, and Texas. What do you think about that? I think that Michigan's being underestimated. That's what I think. If I will say, though, that if somebody held a gun to my head, then I've got Michigan at 9-3 right now. Looks like I need to make some early predictions. Mike says Sam Laporta. Somebody else said Dallas Clark. That was Ralph on the Iowa tight end. Sam Laporta had a heck of a career, still there, still ready to roll. No, I'm mixing them up. I'm mixing up Sam Laporta and Luke Lachey. Luke Lachey is still there. Of course, Sam Laporta is in the NFL. Mike, I graduated from Kent State University. That must be my favorite football team. We've got a prediction from George, week 1. Florida 41, Miami 14. Tony Moeaki. That's taking us back to the 80s. Can't recall exactly what years he played, but I certainly watched him play a lot of football. Thank you, Joey. Joey got it. Keith's here. And we keep going and going and going and going. Oh, Miami wins the ACC in 2024. Well, in that league, it is certainly possible. And Mario Cristobal has won conference championships. Mike likes my kitchen cabinets. Well, thank you. I like them as well. I do like a lot of bright colors, and I like white. Mike says, Mark, I will send you some good smoked whitefish dip from the Upper Peninsula. All righty. What am I going to do with that? What do I put that on? But hey, I'm here. Zero chance. That's always an amusing statement to me. Anytime anyone says zero chance, of course, there's not zero chance. It's calculable in some way. There is a opportunity for Penn State to beat Michigan. Oh, they don't play. Bingo, Ferris got it. I dove right in on that one. Troy says Mark needs to have some, whatever that is, haggis and eggs for breakfast. Sounds like we need to transition right into the, before we get to the headlines. Sometimes you got to have breakfast before the headlines. What's for breakfast, Mark? I think it's got to be a fruit smoothie because I refuse to eat eggs because they do not interest me, even though I've got like 24 of them. They're probably going to go bad. Maybe. No bacon, no sausage. Somebody brought up sausage yesterday, and that intrigued me. I thought, I always order sausage out for breakfast, but I never purchase it. It's easy. Maybe I'll get some sausage. Maybe I'll get away from bacon and eggs to sausage and eggs, although I'm not such a sausage fan that really counters the health impact. I've come to a place in life where I should be eating healthy all the time, but I certainly am trying to not eat crap that doesn't taste good now, because that totally works against you. You don't benefit from the pleasure, the taste of eating something that tastes really good, and it also sucks and is not good for you. Well, that's stupid. So I'm trying to bypass all of that. So really the health content of sausage, and is it really that good? My good buddy Keith, his wife Debbie made, I don't remember the name of this. They asked me if I knew what it was, and I said, no, I've never heard of it, but it ended up being a chocolate chip cookie cake with ice cream on it. And that was exceptional. That was so good. Now that's when, okay, does it still offset the health damage? No, it doesn't. It's 2 minutes of pleasure for whatever the health damage is. But at least it pays off from a flavor standpoint. It pays off. It's that good. All right, so what's for breakfast? Yeah, I'm going to roll out the same stuff that I told you that I rolled out yesterday that I never ate, that I never had, but I will make a smoothie today with blueberries and strawberries frozen and with various greens. I've got 2 stalks of asparagus that have not been touched, and they're going bad, and they will go bad, so they might as well get thrown into a blender. And I got to take it easy on the asparagus because, again, definitely ruin the flavor of a smoothie if you put too much in it. But I got to get rid of that asparagus. I cannot waste any more food. Sounds like George has had some experience here with the sausage links rolling around on the plate, and then the dog gets to them. Okay, well, I think rather than rolling around on your plate, I wouldn't think that would have any consequence with the dog. The dog must be laying on the table or something. Kale ruins the flavor. Well, oh, Yakov. This is an interesting question because the bottom line answer is no, but the complete answer is I never tried many times when I should have been trying based on my athleticism. Meaning that if you're not heavy into training, then we all reach our peak around, it's very young, in which a male reaches his peak athletically, unless you do something about it later in life and then you can reach a peak later. But if you just by normal progression, you reach your peak around 20 years old. Well, first of all, I never played basketball, didn't like basketball. I liked to watch basketball when I was a kid and growing up, but I never participated in basketball, didn't like it in gym, rarely ever saw basketball, shot a basketball, nothing. I played football in high school, played baseball in high school, played those sports in the backyard, on the street growing up. That was my sole focus, football, baseball. There would be about 2 times a year when my friends would want to play basketball and I would get dragged into a basketball game and I just basically got under the basket and rebounded from what I remember. So I recall because I tore my Achilles. I'm sorry, I did not tear it. I stretched it, strained it. I sprained my ankle. That was a severe sprain. It still is not right. So it's funny you bring that up because I'm going to go off on a story that probably nobody wants to hear, but Yakov has asked me. So I started to play basketball, and I'm talking about pickup basketball after high school, like when I was 20, 21, 22. It was even after college, I think, or I might have been in college. I remember going to Kent State a number of times because friends, this was the influence of friends dragging me into playing basketball. And I thought, hey, I should try to play basketball, get good at basketball. I'm not going to brag about my athleticism nor downplay it. I was a way better than average athlete for sure, way better than like if you listed at Stowe High School all the athletes, I would be rather high. I could probably outrun everyone practically, but I wasn't a great athlete by any stretch. I didn't have the body type for it. You can see I'm a skinny guy. So I didn't have the imposing figure to like play at different levels. Although I did get a lot of college offers at very small colleges like Hiram, Baldwin Wallace, Slippery Rock. Who else? I got about 15, and I'm not talking about like flat out, here's a scholarship, but inquiries from colleges to play baseball, about 15 of them. So basketball, back to basketball. So I started playing pickup basketball and just jumping up for rebounds. Guys started asking me, can you dunk a basketball? Because I could get up there. So I thought, well, I don't know. So the answer was I couldn't, but I was extremely close. So for, I would say, a couple years, I thought, I'm going to work on this and I'm going to be able to dunk a basketball because I could like hang on a rim. So it's one thing to like get up there and be able to elevate that high. It's another to have the coordination and then also the extra elevation to get the ball above the rim to bring it down. So it's funny on the night that and when I say I was working on this, it wasn't like I came up with some like workout plan and I was working on it every day. It means that once a week or twice a week, we'd go out and play pickup basketball and I'd have my friend lob some up to me and I'd try to work on my jump to elevate that high. On this particular night that I wrecked my Achilles, I was 25. I had just gotten married and I lived in Wadsworth, Ohio, beautiful Wadsworth, Ohio. And I was out with a couple buddies and we were playing pickup basketball. And before the game, my buddy Steve and I were out and he was tossing me balls at the rim to see if I could dunk them. And I was getting so close. And that night, there was one dude that was playing. It was like he was 7 feet tall. He wasn't probably 7 feet tall, but to a guy that's 5'11", he was a giant. And I landed on his foot. I was leaping up for a ball right next to him. I landed on his foot, which must have come off the ground about that high. And I turned my ankle, completely turned it, severely sprained my ankle. I was on crutches for 6 or 8 weeks. And they didn't have to do surgery. So I didn't tear my Achilles. I don't remember exactly what I stretched it. I didn't tear it. And that, I didn't rehab that correctly. It's still, I can feel it to this day. My left ankle doesn't stretch as much as the other one. But then after that incident, of course, I didn't play basketball the rest of the summer until the next year. And even the next year, I remember not playing much basketball. I played tennis. I was a bit shaky on the court. So it took like practically 2 years to really come back from it. And I was never the same and never really attempted to do that. But Yakov, I'm sure everyone appreciates you asking that question, because as has been told to me many times, Mark, you can't just answer a question in like 10 seconds, can you? No, many times I can't, especially if it's personal. I will just flat out just tell a story, and that's what it is. Oh, that's right. We got big news here at the Voice of College Football. So thanks to Joey. And I guess we're going to do that live. Oh, no, it's going to be released. So here's the deal. First of all, Joey's telling everyone to have a great day. Next, Joey and I will be interviewing West Virginia head coach Neil Brown Thursday morning. And it's going to be released on the West Virginia channel at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. So if you guys know anything about how difficult it is to flag down a major college football coach, Joey's done an exceptional job. I had an interview with Neil Brown about a year ago that Joey set up. And here we go. We've got another interview with West Virginia head coach Neil Brown, and that's scheduled for tomorrow. And you're going to be able to see the premiere of that at the Voice of College Football West Virginia at 7 p.m. Eastern Thursday night. So that's good stuff right there. Let's get to the headlines. And in the headlines today, wouldn't it be something if we could get through one day without hearing about transfer news? And here we go. Former five-star quarterback Sam Heward of the Hewards. And hopefully you can't hear all that weed eating, mowing, whatever it is. It must be, yes, they're mowing. I just saw the path that this gentleman took on his riding mower, and I see absolutely no change in the grass. None. He just went by, and it looks exactly the same. Anyway, former five-star quarterback Sam Heward, the top-ranked quarterback in the class of 21, is transferring to Utah from FCS Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Heward spent last season as the starter, where he transferred after spending 2 seasons in a backup role at Washington, where his father, Damon, Uncle Brock, also played quarterback. Highly successful quarterbacks. Of course, Brock Heward is one of the best, could be argued as the best color analyst in all of college football. I think he might be. Yeah, give me a Brock Heward game above just about anybody else. Anyway, back to the other Heward here. What's his name? Sam. All right, so his stats at Cal Poly, whatever the percentage is on 185 out of 304. I hate when they don't put the percentage there. Like, we're going to calculate 180 out of 304. It's almost exactly 60%. It's like a tick above. 2,205 yards, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, which does not impress anyone, but we've not seen him play. And his team went 3-8. The team's offensive coordinator was Heward's high school coach, Sheldon Cross, who was announced as the offensive coordinator at FCS Stetson. Anyway, Heward will compete with Brandon Rose and Isaac Wilson to back up Utah quarterback Cam Rising. And we know Cam Rising has had his injury issues and missed all of last season. I hope that we are not paying this guy by the hour because he keeps going over the same spot. And he can only get so close to the building in that riding mower, so obviously somebody's going to have to be here. Look at this. So our second story is the same story as yesterday. So you're talking about a slow news day. All the other stories on the ESPN list of headlines are the same as they were on Tuesday. Okay. 60.6. There you go, Ralph. Thank you so much for that. But I could see 180 out of 300 is the same as 18 out of 30, 3 out of 5, same ratio. There you go, 60%. Then I saw the 5 and the 4 and thought it's a shade above 60%. I tried at one point in my life to reason with my kids who are so much smarter than I am. However, in this one way, math just does not connect. I don't think math has connected with anyone of this generation. And when I say anyone, do not take that to the hilt. I don't mean 100%, but I mean very high percentages of kids growing up in the last 25 years didn't learn to do math because they had calculators all the time and they never thought about understanding math and ratios and percentages and all of that. Just never did it. And if you're a fan of the Andy Griffith Show, then you will say, poor Horatio. All right, we do appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. We're having a fruit smoothie for breakfast, and we will in the future, based on your contributions, and we appreciate those, be making breakfast as promised. So thank you so much for that. We will see you at 11 a.m. Eastern time for the Buckeyes Live Show over on the Ohio State channel. Have a great day.